Hey geeks, it's Andrea. We are on day 4 of our daily creepy countdowns for the month of October. Our horror month is just beginning, but we've already seen a handful of creepy countdowns. Today, we are taking a look at 5 possessed items. These are items you definitely don't want to get your hands on at a garage sale. Alright geeks, let's go. The Curse of James Dean's Car. James Dean was an incredibly famous actor in his time. Before his premature death in 1955, he loved his Porsche 550 Spider. He had the car customized just for him by George Barris, who was famous for making movie cars look exceptionally badass. He loved it so much he gave it the nickname Little Bastard. After meeting with fellow actor Alec Guinness and showing him his treasured vehicle, Guinness stated, "If you get in that car, you'll be found dead in it by this time next week." 7 days later, James Dean was killed in his Little Bastard. After the wreck, George Barris bought the wrecked Spider. Not long after, it slipped off the trailer they had it on and broke a mechanic's leg. Barris sold the engine to Tom McHenry and the drivetrain to William Escrid before they had a race. During this race, McHenry lost control of his car and ran into a tree, dying instantly, while Escrid's car suddenly locked up and flipped over, seriously injuring him. A bit later, Barris sold 2 wheels from the Spider to another driver. Both tires blew out at the same time and drove the driver off the road. At this time, Barris decided he wasn't going to sell any more pieces. That didn't deter a couple of robbers, though. 2 men tried to steal the seats and steering wheel off the Little Bastard. While trying to take the steering wheel off, one of the thieves' arms was torn open. Yes, torn open. The other thief was injured trying to remove the custom seat that was now stained with James Dean's blood. After this event, George Barris decided he had to hide the car, but the California Highway Patrol convinced him to lend it to them for a highway safety exhibit. Unfortunately, before the exhibit could actually happen, the garage that was storing the car for it caught fire and was completely burned to the ground. Somehow, even after being part of a large fire, the Spider was left completely undamaged. The Little Bastard was next lent to a local high school for an event, and the car fell off its display and broke a student's hip. Afterwards, the Spider was being transported in a truck when the driver lost control. He fell out of the truck, and somehow in a wild turn of events, the car crushed him after falling out of the back. The car continued to fall off 2 more trucks transporting it, but no one was injured during these events, fortunately. Somehow, while transporting it back to Boris, the cursed car vanished and the whereabouts of the entirety of the car haven't been publicly known since. The Crying Boy paintings. Italian artist Giovanni Bragolin painted a picture of a crying boy that was incredibly popular in the 1950s. Not only of the one boy, but there were also similar portraits painted of other boys and girls. Only one that carried a curse with him though. In 1985, a firefighter from Essex told a newspaper that they would frequently find the painting undamaged in the remains of the houses that were burnt to the ground. British firefighters refused to allow copies of this painting to be allowed in their homes, and you can't really blame them. As expected, it didn't take long before a story was surfaced that the painting was of an orphan who had lost his family when his home was burnt down. There isn't enough evidence to say whether it's true or not, but after less than 2 months of the story being released, The Sun, the newspaper that originally released the story, was organizing mass bonfires of the painting. Thomas Busby's chair. Thomas Busby loved his chair when he was alive, maybe a little too much. So much that he murdered his father-in-law, Daniel Audie, for allegedly sitting in his favorite chair after arguing about Thomas's wife, Elizabeth. Before his execution, people believed Thomas put a curse on his chair. If anyone were to sit in his precious chair, they would be haunted and die shortly after. These rumors were fueled by fatal accidents in the early 1970s that happened after people sat in the chair. Some reports saying the number of deaths being over 60 individuals. In 1972, they hung the chair from the ceiling to prevent people from sitting on it. If you had the chance to sit in it, would you? The Bisogno Vase. The Bisogno Vase is a thing of stories passed down over time. One of those things that you don't believe actually exists. The story goes that a young bride was given this vase as a wedding gift. On her wedding night, she was found dying on the floor, holding tightly to her new vase. Supposedly before she died, she promised vengeance for her death. The vase was given to family members of the bride, but as each family member died under strange circumstances, the vase was boxed up and buried in a secret location. That was until 1988. When allegedly someone found the vase with the note inside reading, "Beware, this vase brings death." Rather than listening to the warning, he discarded the note and sold the vase to an auction. The buyer was a pharmacist who died mysteriously 3 months after making the purchase, so his family sold the vase off. It was purchased by a surgeon who died 2 months later at the young age of 37. The vase was then sold to an archaeologist. 3 months later, he died. After being sold again, the next owner died within a month. Instead of selling the vase, the family decided to throw the vase out of a window. Once thrown, the vase nearly hit a policeman in the head and wrote the man a ticket. The man accepted the ticket but refused to take the vase back, stating that he would rather be arrested. The police department tried to get museums to take the vase, but the curse was already well known, so none of the local museums wanted it. It was reported in the newspaper that the police buried the vase to protect people from it. Only time will tell if it appears again.
Annabelle.
Annabelle is probably one of the more famous possessed items. Most recently, it was made popular by a horror film by the same name, though as you can imagine, it was quite different. In 1970, a woman bought a large Raggedy Ann doll for her daughter Donna. Donna was studying to be a nurse and had a roommate named Angie. They would come home and find the doll in different positions than when they had left. After a while, they began finding notes reading the word help, and even found blood on the doll. After consulting with a local psychic, they were informed that the doll was possessed by the spirit of a girl named Annabelle, who had died where the apartment was before it was built. The girls had a friend named Lou, who didn't believe the psychic, saying there was something way more sinister about Annabelle than just the spirit of a young innocent girl, and pleaded with them to get rid of the doll. Supposedly that night, Annabelle visited Lou, lifted his body off the ground, and strangled him until he passed out. The next night, while Lou was visiting the girls, they thought they heard a sound in the next room and became scared. So Lou went to go see what had created the sound. Before long, Lou began to scream. When the girls came to see what was wrong, they saw 2 huge claw marks down Lou's chest. No intruders were in the room, just Lou, the girls, and Annabelle. Ed and Lorraine Warren, famous for investigating the Amityville house, were called in to see the doll. They came to the conclusion that Annabelle wasn't the spirit of a little girl, but instead a conduit to hell being used by a demon. They tried 2 failed exorcisms but gave up. Instead, the doll is being kept behind glass in the Warrens Museum with a sign warning people to keep their hands off. Some visitors swear they see the doll move. Alright geeks, that's gonna do it for this video. I don't know about you, but the thought of objects having the ability to cause death is a hard one for me to swallow, but terrifying nonetheless. Let me know what you guys think. Be sure to come back tomorrow for another creepy countdown, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Alright geeks, I'll see you tomorrow.